And we are live again. Hello, Jill. Good Monday. Good start of the week. How are you today?
I'm really well, thank you. It's a very bright morning in England this morning with lots of sun, but it's quite cold as we've got a north wind blowing down. But it's a lovely start to the week, and at least it's not raining, which is always a blessing.
Okay, perfect. Today I will be live instead of Giovanni because he's in another meeting. So we will have fun all together. We can start this week all together. And I see that people are arriving. Hello, Cindy. Hello, hello. Hello, Irena from Australia. Agnieszka. Hello, Gill, Lucrezia, and Stamperia family. Hello, everyone. As usual, don't forget to like and share this live if you want to win a fantastic pizza box. At the end of this live, I will announce the winner of this week. Cindy, Lucrezia, are you feeling better? Yes, yes. I finished the antibiotics this weekend, so now I'm back in the office and I'm still a little bit like not so well, but still well. Hello, Anna, Nives, Elena, Mitch, our usual fans, our usual friends. Perfect. And of course, don't forget to share your projects on our Facebook group, Stampers Worldwide. Hello, Anita, Laura, everyone. Okay, so Gill, what are we going to create today?
So this morning we are going to create this exploding box. So I've custom sized it because of the pieces I put inside. So that's the lid. And if we when we open it, and I'll tilt it, so you can see that on the back I have added one of the 3D furniture pieces from Belinda Basson's latest collection and a suitcase. And of course we have Mr. Supervisor here as well, watching what's going on. So that's what we're going to be making this morning. So I hope that people like it. So there we are. We'll pop that
It's
together.
beautiful. It's
Thank
really,
you.
really beautiful. I'm sure that our friends will love it for sure. Hello, Sharon. See, Agnieszka already wrote, it's amazing box, Jill. Great
Thank you,
project.
Agnieszka. Thank you,
Yeah,
Arena.
perfect. Okay, so I will play our intro and then we can start creating all together. See you after the intro, Jill.
Okay, see you soon. Bye.
And here we are. We can start creating.
Excellent. So I've used quite a lot of different products and quite a lot of different um, genres across the shop. So I'm just going to go through the list of the things that I've used. I've used the 6x6 papers, which are SBBX XS10. I've
Mm-hmm.
used some of the die cuts, which are from DFLDC52. I've used the beautiful soft mould from the latest collection, which is K3 PTA 5603, and some soft clay. I've used one of the moulds from Belinda's original collection with the big bookcases and the supervisor, because quite a lot of the UK stockists are out of stock of the latest mould with the cat that's in, and that is K3PTA487. I've used some of the 8x8 paper images, SBBS49. I've used bits from the collectibles, SBBV14. From the back main paper pack, which is SBBL98. From the backgrounds, SBBL100. And then the most important element comes from the new die cut 3D paper kit from Belinda, SBPOPO8. So those are
Wow.
all of the products that we are going to be using. You will have, lots of bits left over, but the
A lot
three-dimensional
of
project,
products from the collection.
a lot of products from the collection, but
Yeah,
it
they
just
are
makes
they're
life
beautiful.
very much easier. So
Yes, they
I've
are really
done
beautiful.
what I usually do when I'm prepping for lives. I've made and pre-cut lots of my pieces to make life easier for myself, and also to make it easier for everyone else to follow. So to start with, we need to have two pieces that are 6 inches across and 6.5 inches long, scored at 1/2 inch, so you've got a flap, and one will form the front of the box and the other will form the back of the box. We've got two pieces that are 4 inches across, 6 inches tall, 6.5 inches tall, scored at 1/2 inch to form the sides of the box, like this. And then two panels, 6 inches by 4 inches, which are going to form the base of the box and to hide where I've added the flaps at the back. So the first thing I'm going to do is hope that my glue is going to work, because that's always frustrating. There we are. And we're going to actually just glue these together to make the box itself.
Okay, nice, perfect.
So when you're adding this glue, it's quite important that you make sure that you don't go over the fold itself, but the more accurately you line everything up, the more professional the box will look at the end of the day. So there we are, and I can still move that freely. And then we'll do the opposite side from there. Shelley, I'm sure sure the papers will all be in your hands soon. It's a beautiful collection to work with, and
Mhm.
so it's absolutely a joy to work with, and there's so many elements. And Belinda shared lots of beautiful inspiration samples with it. I've chosen to go down some very different routes, because that's more my thing, is messing around with papers and making exploding boxes and journals. But really, it's a collection that you can take in any direction you want. So now I have my box, which I've custom cut. And the reason I chose the 6 inches is I measured the size of the 3D element and then gave myself some space around it, so that it would look nice, as if I was entering a room. So that's that piece. And if you look on the back, you see you then have an awful messy bit. Let me let that side dry properly. You have a messy bit where you've put all of the flaps, and so I don't like messy appearances of things. So I've got another piece of card to cover the mischief, because that's always a good thing, I think. There we are. And that has slipped, but there we are. So we will then add this piece onto here, and that is the box construction done. and then all of my workings as to how it's made have all then been covered. So there we are. Hello, Marisol. Welcome to the
To our
live. I hope all is well in Andorra. Yeah. So we then need to cover the the outside of our box, and I find that is easier to do and make sure I've looked it all up the right way by keeping everything in the direction it should be, because otherwise I find that I've got text up the wrong way. So now I've got a small piece of paper, just slightly smaller than my box, that I'm going to pop into here.
Oh, Belinda wrote a super speedy construction, Jill.
I had it all prepped because I thought it was going to be easier to have it prepped than not. Yeah, we all know how to cut straight lines with a paper trimmer or a guillotine, so I didn't feel that I needed to be necessarily.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and also we have a sweet message from Anita. She wrote, Jill is always organized and her instructions are easy to follow. Love watching Jill.
Thank you, Anita. I do try to be organised. It takes quite a lot of work, as everyone else who does lives will testify to. And I have to have a whole sample made, although they're never going to be exactly the same. And so this element here is literally a piece from the 12 by 12 paper pack that's just simply being cut out. I have edged all of mine with some archival inks, but really, it's up to you. And there we are. Mr. Supervisor, who I absolutely love, has just been cut out and then edged with brown ink. And I've kept that edging consistent throughout, so that's there. So he is going to go onto the bottom of there watching. Now, if I turn this round, I now know that is the correct way up for the side. You can tell that at some point in the past, I've decorated one of these and had the, at the end of the day, the panels upside down, because you're working up, back to front with what you're doing. And now I've got a problem with my glue, which is always unhelpful. So excuse me, but I'm just going to swap to a different glue, because that's going to drive me to rally. There we are. But I actually love the Stamperia glues very much. And I've clearly not bothered with my cutting very well, because that's the wrong size. So hey ho, we'll be doing a little bit of judicious trimming here. So much for being organised. But there you are. But that doesn't really matter. There we are. I won't bother getting out a paper trimmer. So on the side of my panels, I've chosen to put one of the female images from the collectibles. There we are. I think you're in focus. Hello, Anita. I hope, I'm assuming that in Sweden, the first of your snow has arrived. Now, when you're putting the side panel images on, you need to remember that you've got a box lid to go on here. So I'm going to pop this down a little bit, because I know I've got an inch for the box lid that needs to go there. There we are. So let's pop that down. We're going to move that round. We're going to pop that over. In fact, if I do that, it'll set better for everyone. So there we are. There we are. I think that we're going to need to have a collection at some point with dogs in it, because I know lots of people love cats, and but there are equally a large number of people who actually prefer to have dogs. So I think that would be the next suggestion, is that we need a collection with a dog in it, so that we suit everyone's needs. Yeah, I don't know what happened with my Yeah.
What do you think, people in the comments? Romantic collections with dogs instead of horses or a C word. Would you like a romantic collection with dogs? Let's see if
I mean,
someone you will love that, Jill, right? Like a collection
oh,
with dogs, etc.
I think, well, I just think we need to be able to cater for everyone's taste, and and not everyone is a cat lover. I mean, I love cats, but I think that it's a good idea to have a mixture of animals. So we've got another Mr. Supervisor to go on here. There we are.
Oh, they are giving us some suggestions. For example, Belinda is telling us that Anthony has a dog called London, so maybe he should have a sidekick too. And also Agnieszka, Sir Vagabond might have a dog. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, I think that would be a fantastic idea. I just
Mhm.
think that there's an awful lot of dog lovers out there who will be crafters, and that they would, that they'd appreciate you know, a, a set of dog images. I mean, I love these cats, and with all of the attitude that the artists have managed to get into, their poses and things. But I think not everyone is a dog lover. So there we are. So now we have our basic box construction done like that, and we now need to think about making a lid for it. Yeah. We'll decorate the
Okay.
inside afterwards. So for the lid, I have a piece of paper that is just over 8 inches wide, wide, and just over 6 inches long. So we remember the original box is 6 by 4, but if you don't add a little smidge then to the end when you're cutting your piece out, then it becomes quite snug to fit in. And what I've done is, so I've cut my paper and then I've scored it at an inch all round and taken these little wedges out to make it easier for me to put together. So we will. So now all I
Okay.
need to do is add a little bit of glue there and line up the top and the sides. And I've got a little clip to put that in place while it dries. And then we will pop that into there. And again, it's about being as accurate as you can whilst you're making things so that it looks professional and a quality piece at the end of the day. I think if you're going to spend time creating beautiful pieces to either to decorate your room or to gift to friends, then you want it to look as nice as possible. And I use adding the clips for me just keeps it in place for me while the glue has a chance to grab. And there we are. Pop that there.
Oh, we have a Rachel Harris in the comment. Hello, good morning, Rachel.
Good morning, Rachel. I hope all is well in Wales. Yes, we know you're out in the middle of nowhere, aren't you, sweetheart? Um, so it's not surprising to me to see that you've got cows and sheep as pets. It's a nice thing to have. So whilst my clips are holding that to dry, I've got a panel of the beautiful floral background paper that is cut to 6 by 4. So, and it's edged again. So there we are. And that can pop onto there. And then I have my side panels, and these are 3/4 of an inch wide by 8 inches, and 3/4 of an inch wide by 6 inches. So,
Okay,
and these are
perfect.
just the reverse side of that, and hopefully I shall be able to get them. You can see that it's the rise. It's the usual problem, isn't it? We all crafters have, is that we have beautiful double-sided papers and then have to make a choice. So multiple sizes of papers or multiple packs of papers is always a good move. 2 to use, 1 for each side, 1 to sniff and smell, and to cover it for the future. Always is a good move, I think. And actually, to be fair, I am already on my second set of most of the papers. Mind you, that possibly has something to do with the fact that I created a mini album on the live on Friday and used quite a lot of the papers then. And I've already made my sample. And just as a reminder, ladies, I said that I would give away my project from the live last Friday.
Oh, wow.
To win it, people need to go to the That's Crafty Creatives page. And That's Crafty are one of the UK stockists, and they'd asked me to, Rachel and I actually, to do the lives then. So I think you might find 2 posts there with us. Find our projects from the live, comment, and we're both going to draw at random someone to win it. We won't be responsible for the fact that the post office might not get it safely to anyone abroad, but I'm happy to post mine abroad. But it will be completely at random. So that's the outside of my box, and more of this beautiful paper. It's really difficult to choose the 2 sides. I'm using the rusty one for the inside of my box, and all of these layers, you think, well, why are you adding all the layers? People won't really look at the inside of the box, but they all add ultimately to the stability of adding the extra layers as you go. So there we are. I'm sticking to that. So thank you, Linda. Yes, Linda, if we go to the That's Crafty Creatives page, it's there. There is a post on my own page that tells you to go over to the That's Crafty Creatives page. It's easy enough to become a member, so don't stress about that if you have to be a member first. The admin team will sort that out for you and allow you to comment quite happily. So there we are.
Agnieszka wrote, I love that
So
rusty
just
page the most.
I don't know which is my favorite page in the whole
Right.
in the whole collection.
Yeah.
I just think that they're all lovely and they all have their place depending on what you want to do. I'm not a full-blown steampunk girl, horror of horrors, but I do like to make some projects that are steampunk-esque, often with a little bit more of a feminine spin on them, but that's it's each to themselves. So this is, I think, probably the only painting I need to do. So we've got a piece of the mold that is beautiful with all those different textures on it, and I've just torn it to fit approximately the top of my box, but it needs to be painted, and for that I'm using KAL03, one of the Allegro paints. Let's pop that out of the way. Just pop a little bit of paint up there. And that is the only bit of painting I need to do today, so that's always a positive feature of things, I think. So this will take a while, just a few minutes to get painted, and I like the Allegro paints because they really give such good coverage. Now I've got way too much on there, but hey ho, it'll the thing with the paper clay will absorb some of it, so it's not such a problem. Yeah,
Yeah, they are so
yeah,
pigmented.
they really are very pigmented. So uh, and they cover beautifully, which is always a really good thing, because there are some paints that just don't have the depth of pigment, and you just find that you end up having to put lots and lots of layers on, and that is just never ever the case with the Allegro paints at all. They cover really
Nah,
well, as you can see. I've got a completely white piece of clay, and yes, I have been fairly generous with the
the
with
color.
with the amount of paint I put on, but you can see how actually, although I thought I'd probably put way too much on, actually it's not quite so as much as I thought it was, to do that. And the other thing is that the pot sizes for the the paints are also a really useful size. So let me just clear that mess, because one thing is for sure, if you've got black paint, it will get on everything, because that's just
Oh, for
what black
sure.
paint does. It gets onto everything. So there we are. So I'm going to pop that there. And whilst we've got paints and waxes out, I'm just going to grab some extra little pieces to, because these needed some things. So here is my Mr. Supervisor, cast from the mould. And it's just been covered with spray white gesso, which Stamperia have. And then I want to add some details to him. And for that, I'm using a much loved metallic black Cerantica. And I use this because it will just pick up all of the hairlines. And sorry, fingers are definitely the best way of applying this. So, if I don't know whether the camera will see that, but it's just picking up on all of the details in that mold, all of the little hairs that have been so carefully put into the mold are all there. So let's do his ears. There we are. And then,
Yeah, this chair antica is really, really beautiful and it's perfect for all these details.
oh, absolutely. I mean, I love that metallic pearl in black metallic is just wonderful. And I've now got patina anticanti, which is it's a different form of wax. An ordinary wax would work just as it would work as well, and stay on the surface if you wipe it over. So I'm just going to add some of that to the hat, because I didn't I wanted the details of the hat to be, and also to the goggles. There we are. And whilst we're on the subject, I didn't really want to completely white eyes. Let me just pick up a tiny brush. You can see in here we've got all the details. I'm just going to give my little cat some tiny blue eyes, because I just think that at least looks better. And they have a pinkish nose, so let me add a little bit of that onto his
Nice.
nose.
As
And the
Anita
best tool
wrote,
in the world.
are so detailed.
Absolutely. So we've now got a little bit of pink on his nose, which is good. And then we're going to add some details to our bookmarks. All I've done with this is cast the big piece of book from the mold, and whilst the resin, which, because I've used resin here, was still soft, I've cut it up into pieces the size I needed for my project. And by adding the wax, I've got my back bases, and I can then bring out all of the details. that I want. There we are. From there. And I didn't want them all completely gold, so I've also got some of the beautiful metallic turquoise wax here, so I'm just going to add some areas of that to just take it up another layer. And obviously you can choose whichever colours you want. There's blues in the papers, so they all work nicely together. Now then, I've still got that to dry, so bear with while I just grab my heat tool, because that piece of paper clay needs to be dried, so that will allow me then to get this last piece dry, she says. There we are. Oops. So we've got our moulded pieces for inside. Just get this dry. I'm sorry about the noise. Alita, you're right, the moulds really are hugely detailed. Whoever has designed them has gone to a great amount of trouble to do it. And they're fab prices, because you get so many really good size images for about half the price of a mold that's made from a grey or a pink silicone base. So yeah, I think that they are incredible. I do like the waxes as well, because they again will allow you to highlight and bring out all of the details in the pieces. So there we are. Right, that should be dry enough. So I'm just going to add some bits to the top of here, and that will be the only heat drying that then is needed, which is always a
We have a
blessing
nice
because they're
comment
noisy.
by Middle Art. She wrote, Jill, when you create, it seems so easy for you. I love your art. Thank you for sharing everything with us.
You're very welcome. I'm not ashamed to admit it, that I am nearly 60. I've been crafting a long time, and so I'm very happy in the world of my craft room, just adding details and layers, and chopping up pieces of paper and rearranging them. But when you've got fabulous papers to start with, it makes life very easy to do it. And of course, for ladies who find that more of a struggle, or who are starting out, there's tons and tons of inspiration on on social media pages for people to go to. There's obviously Stampers Worldwide, for Stamperia, which has lots of products from lots across all of the ranges. I know that Belinda has her own page for Belinda's. Can't remember exactly what it is. So maybe Belinda, you could pop your own page for you sharing your makes up on screen. So there we for us. So there we are. So my now gilded piece of that. I think it is still a little bit damp because the gold, the wax is fading in areas, but that's okay. So there we are. So that's going on there. And then it's a question of layering my pieces. So I am going to have to wipe my hands. I don't mind sticky hands, but there is a time and a place to have them. And black paint everywhere on everything is not what I really wish to achieve. So bear with me while I just get that mess sorted out. Cool. So on here, the first element I chose was the typewriter, which comes from the wooden shaped packs, and I didn't give you the details of that one, so let me see if I can find it. No, I can't, but it's the one with Lady Vagabond and the big pirate ship on it. I think it might be KLSPL12, possibly. So that can go over there. So I'm going to pop that there. So let's see if I can get one of the Stamperia. There we are. the Stamperia glue is going. So he's going to go there. Then we've got a cat that needs a little bit of shaping because I want him to sit half on and half off my typewriter. So he's going to go there, onto there. One of the things that I think is common, certainly feature of all of my makes, is lots of layering. I've got a clock face or a gauge, and I've added some of the Stamperia fluid gloss to the centre. So that is going to go, just be tucked under there, up the correct way, because that's always a good thing. I have a word cut from the paper pack, and that needs to be, for stability, layered up with some cardboard. And ladies, if you don't know what to do with your pizza boxes when you've emptied them, the cardboard makes a fab recyclable unit, and means that you are putting less in your rubbish bin, which to my mind is always a good move. So
Yes.
there we are.
It's always good to recycle, reuse everything. We should
Absolutely.
not waste anything and use as much as possible. Also because these products cost money, so we should take the most out of them.
Oh, absolutely. So that then is the basis of the lid of my box. So I think some of that might struggle to glue because the paint's being wet. So let's pop that piece out of the way because I'm running out of fingers and hands. And that's always a good sort, isn't it, to run out of hands and fingers. And then I've just raided a local floristry wholesalers, but I've just got some little fronds of greenery that I'm going to tuck in. Hot glue might be better for this, but the wet glue will work while we're here. Some tiny little paper flowers. You could make your own if you felt so inclined. But these little bits to me are the bits that actually just make a project completely come together. So, and they add, and then you can use them as you want to. So there we are. Let's pop that straight. There we are. So that can tuck underneath. Put the glue on the wrong side. It's always helpful, I think. There we are. That can pop under there. So he's going there, and we'll add another flower because I like things in threes. And you can say, well, have you got a three? Well, I have sort of three big elements clustered, and then I've got my three flowers. So I've got my visual triangle sort of together there. Right. And that needs just now some time to dry while everything settles down, because it's live, so it's not going to grab straight away, because that would be too easy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no, but this project is turning out really beautiful.
So in Belinda's beautiful 3D furniture collection, I used the desk in the first project, and I've made up the clock already because it's a little bit fiddly to get what is in effect a flat piece of card to curve around the shapes, but it does go really well. And so these are the pieces that we need from the pack. So I've already taken a little bit of time. So that's how it comes in the cardstock. There is a really faint fold line there that I have folded, and it needs a jolly good burnish. So that becomes the back of the fireplace. We have this piece, which has equally got some pretty tiny lines, pale lines on it, but you need to score along those lines and to get all of the bits that you're going to need for adding, and they need a jolly good burnish, but I just thought it was going to be easier to have some of these pre-scored and pre-done. And there is a fabulous video that on E Academy that Splenda has done for those of you that need a little bit more support than this to make them up, to help, and that's accessible by anyone. And this is the fireplace piece that we've got made. So I need to attach all of these pieces together. So that is how it's going to sit long term on the back of there. So
Oh
I'm
wow,
going
it's
to
really,
add a
really
little bit of
beautiful.
glue to here and a little bit of glue to there. So along there, along there, along there. And this is a little bit fiddly, and you just need to be patient whilst the glue grabs. Line up your edges, make sure it's down in place, make sure it's neat and square. 5 pairs of hands is always a good look and much needed. But there we are. So there we are. Let that side grab. Why is it when you waiting, it's a bit like waiting for paint to dry, isn't it? When you want something to dry quickly, it doesn't.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, true.
But it's just a question of being patient,
Yeah,
because
for sure.
glue takes time, takes its own time to settle, doesn't it? You just need to let it
Mhm.
settle. There we are. So that's the other side. And so that can line up neatly there. So there we
And
are.
of course, people in the comment, don't forget to like and share this live if you want to win our pizza box. And today, at the end of this live, me and Jill will announce the winner of this week.
So now we have our sort of square. Let me see if I can square that one up. It won't actually matter too much, but it is just a question of being patient, just letting the glue settle and stick, and having everything lined up square, which you can tell I'm not the world's most patient of individuals, but there we are. So we now need to put this piece together. This is going to form the top of our piece. So there we are. Let's pop that onto there, that onto there. So we've got a dimensional shelf. There we are. And now we've got 2 tabs on the top that need to. I'm popping this glue on now because by doing this, it becomes sort of tacky. And there we are. So let me just put those together and hold it while it sets. So I hope everyone is enjoying what's going on. Accurate scoring is quite important for this, and a little bit of patience on my part now would have helped matters, but hey ho, because I haven't took that piece in very well. There we are, that's better.
Still,
So that,
everyone in the comment is enjoying your project, and they are sending you a lot of hearts. Carolina del Coral sent you
that's
tons of
lovely.
hearts.
That's lovely, thank you. So I've just lined this up with the back because I want it to be reasonably even on each side. I haven't got it completely square, but I'm going to live with that. It is just a question of making sure that you've done it and you got it where you want it. There we are. And giving it a little bit of a push down, which
Our
Or
Cindy wrote,
what?
it's well worth the effort. The kit is wonderful.
It is worth the effort. It absolutely is. And actually, what I need to do is just pop that out of the way over there and just let it dry without moving it at this point. Because the more you faff with things, actually, the worse it becomes, doesn't it? And the more of a problem that you have. So we will return to the inside of our box at this point. So I have lots of bits here, all prepared and ready. There will be a bit more making. So I then I then looked at sorry about the cough. I then looked at all of my papers and decided what I wanted to be the there is the walls paper, and I thought that this image with all of the text on the back would make a perfect wallpaper. So that's what I chose for my wallpaper.
Mm-hmm.
That
Agnieszka wrote, I enjoy every single minute of your live, Jill, with the tons of art,
thank
like a
you.
real rain of art.
That's another one where clearly my paper measuring was somewhat awry, but hey ho, there we are. We can always trim off a bit at the top later on after the live. So I've got a browner edge down here. So I've chosen the piece of paper that's equally got the browner edge to line up. And I know that might seem nitpicky and finicky, but it makes me happy. So there we are. That can go there. This piece. So on this side, there's a paler piece. So surprise, surprise, I'm going to pop the paler edge of this paper piece to there. That's going to need a bit of a trim, but hey ho. And then I've got, see, this is the only problem with having a project that is 18 inches long, is that, or 16 inches long, is that it's quite difficult then to keep it all on screen. Right. I obviously made the same mistake with the outside as I did with the inside papers, as I did with the outside. And I actually know what I've done because I forgot to cut off the strip with the details of what the page is off the bottom, and just when I was cutting it. So that's what's happened. So just be aware that you can't, the papers are just over 12 inches in one direction because of that. So now we have some extra panels. So for the back or the front, depending on which way you want to think of it, I've chosen this paper with the cabinet and all the extra pieces, and I've cut it about quarter of an inch smaller than the original piece, and added a large amount of cardboard to the back of that because that makes it stable. So that's going in there. I have my piece of paper from the 6x6 again with the girl with her feet against the wall. I so wish I could do that now, you know. My legs don't. The years are catching up, and they definitely don't like me to do that. So that can go there.
But you can create amazing projects, so it's even better.
Oh, thank you. Right. So I've just noticed that this needs a little bit of more squash and hold down. So there we are. Just bear with me while I get this piece anchored in place. Because it will drive me mad if I don't get it settled in. Right. So on the opposite side to the girl, because if you've got books, a lady reading, you've got to have a girl or a pile of books for them to grab. So there we are. We're going to pop the pile of books over there. And I've now got my resin pieces. So I'm going to add some of these onto here. And this means that my cat is popping out from behind the books. So for speed, I've got a dimensional glue. Hot glue gun would work just as well, but that will help stick that into there. And this was why I added all of that dimensional glue, because then it meant that I had the cardboard on the back, because it meant I had a stable surface at this point for adding my books onto. So that can go there. There is another one. There we are. Let's pop that out of the way. Right. Excellent. And this piece is going to tuck down there in that corner. So, and then I thought those panels still looked a little bit bare, so I cut out some of the sentiment pieces, and I've got some dimensional square foam adhesive dots here, so that we will add these. One is going to tuck up there. One will tuck over there. So I'm mirroring my pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've decided for the other pack I would put 2 pieces, but I know that those will need an extra one of those. So here we are. So we'll pop that there. Make sure that you get it up the right way. It's always a good move. So he's going to cover that. And I've got one more. So I've got all of the positive affirmations, because I like to have pieces that have positive messages. Whenever I gift something to a friend, I like it to have some meaning.
Of course.
And the words are lovely. So let's just pop that. And this one I'm popping up on 2, so that it's even higher. So that one, then I'm going to make sure I get it up the right way, so that can sit over there. So I have a piece of, she says, card, that beautiful floral, because I thought it might well act as a good mat for the base of my cake. So that is going to go onto there, like so. Right, now then, I had cut out 2 times. I want this back panel to stay upright when my piece is finished, yeah. And
Okay.
to do that, it's quite difficult when you actually look at this and you think, actually, I've only got some, very thin areas to add to. So I'm just going to grab some paper and show you how I worked out how to. I did have these cut for size, but there you are, they've gone walkabouts. So I need to have, just add something to bridge that gap. That's good. So that needs to be just a little bit smaller, just because then it's going to give me something to anchor this down with. So that's going to go in there. That's going to go in there. But it will make life easier if I do this for the anchoring of it together. There we are. So, because it just gives me somewhere to put a little bit of extra glue for holding it in place. So I'm going to let that side grab, tuck that into there, go down the hole, and pop that into there. And just squash those together while that glue does. And we will repeat the same process. So literally I made sure I had a piece that would fit in, gave myself a tab, eyeballed across to the side and folded it again and chopped off the excess. There we are. So literally all I'm doing is creating a bridge to make my life easier. So that can go in there, that can go in there. It's easier to get one side glued properly and then put the other side in. So that can go into there. Let that grab. Says let it grab.
That's really, really beautiful.
Thank you. This is just a little bit, well, it's not as fiddly as I'm making it, ladies. It's just that I just need to be, that'll be that word patience. Not something I'm a huge, I have in huge, there we are, that will work. In huge amounts, there we are. And also conscious as ever that we're on a time frame. So that's always something that goes through my mind when I'm doing the lives. So that can tuck into there, that can tuck into there. And I now have a piece that just gives me a bit more stability. So I'm going to pop some glue on those. A little bit down there, a little bit down there, lot on the back. There we are. And he needs to go on the floor. Make sure he's in. There we are. And then that goes up. And that word patience then has to happen once that sets. So let me grab some pots of glue and pop that behind. So I've now got my, whilst that's grabbing there, I've got taken my clock and I've got it back to front with the numbers. So that wasn't intelligent, was it? But hey ho. So he's going to go in the center of my fireplace. And we'll pop a little bit on the back there so that that can sit there. So ladies, when you're looking at your clock face, make sure you glue the right side to give you the front that's got the clocks in the right hours in the right direction, because clearly I haven't. So let me move those just slightly out of harm's way whilst I create myself a little bit of space. That can sit over there. That just needs to dry upright. So that's going there, that's going over there, that's going over there. I am just going to, because it's irritating me.
You have to adapt the project.
Well, yes, I clearly didn't measure that very well. So, but the two sides need to be the same height, don't they, for the box to fit on? So clearly that's not going to work if I don't do something about it. There we are. Right. So we now have another of those construction pieces to sit in front of it. And at that point, it's up to you really what you want to do. Because the cases have two different sides. So we've got a blue side and we've got a grey side. So choice is yours. We've got some little score lines. So I've scored a lot. I have actually pre-scored on these to make life easier, because I just, yeah, it's a repetitive process, but it's good to reinforce them all. So there we are. There we are. So a little bit of glue and hold it in place. There we are. hold and wait. So the problem with using, if you try to use a glue gun to do this bit, it doesn't work very well because it's too thick for to be helpful. So that's why I am choosing to use the wet glue, because it's just easier at this point to do that. But you just need to be patient, so we can do a song and dance. I'm very good at dancing, it has to be said. I have to say that I'm thinking that just noticed that Chelly's comment about the dimension. I think that these 3D pieces are sheer genius, actually, because it just means that you've got you can create dimensional projects without having to think about all of the cutting, the scoring, the measuring to get the piece you want. I mean, I like, to be fair, I'm I don't particularly mind working out dimensions to make boxes and things, but the fact that you've got double-sided, it's all layered, it's all ready for you, again, makes life really easy. And if you're making projects like this, I have to say that I think these little pegs make life much easier if you've got a supply of them. They just help hold stuff in while it's gluing. But you just, there we are, hopefully that's, so we've got 2 more to do here. There we are, 1. So that one can have a clip on it, because there's room to get that in. The back one's the most fiddly because there isn't really space to put a clip. She said, having covered everything in glue, so hopefully that one will now be dry. So that can go there. That one can fold in neatly and be clipped. And that one, see that one is just quite, because of the angle, it's just quite difficult to get to catch and hold. There we are. So those can be dry. Now then, I think that you can't really have a room without a rug. It just seems to me to be that that's what's needed. So hop there. So I've just got a little piece of cloth. Again, if it was a different style project, you could have, or maybe you could choose a piece from the Klimt fabrics, that would work. But I've chosen a piece of paper that I think's about, that will make a nice rug. I'm just going to find a pair of decent scissors that will then cut a piece of cloth, because there we are, because I want some frayed ends. There we are, because that's what things have. And you can make this any size you want. That's the joy of crafting for yourself, is that you adapt it for your make. So there we are. Pop that over there. And then we're going to fray the ends a little bit, because rugs have tassels on the ends of them, or frayed edges, I think. So that makes just these are the little extra details that just, for me, make for a complete project. And adding the home decor pieces actually isn't that difficult. If you even if you're not a sewer, you could get the sewing machine out. You could do that by all means. Sewing's definitely not my forte. There is one in a sewing machine in the house somewhere. Haven't got a clue where, but glue will work for this purpose. So there we are. I might lose the will to live chopping that all down. So there we are. Let's just chop. There we are. Ideally, you want them the same length at each end. There we are.
Oh,
Few
Agnieszka, but I love it how you build up all the room and making the rug is just cherry on the top of the cake.
more. There are some cushions to go in the suitcase going to appear in a minute.
Oh,
There we are.
wow.
Now you could use fabric decoupage glue if you wanted to or had some, but it's up to you. So there we are. So there is our rug made. There we are. So that I'm literally just going to glue this now into my box. That can go there. Okay. So now we want some cushions, and I think cushions need to be squidgy. Yeah, I don't know any other way to do it, but you need nice plump cushions. So I've actually just got some foam, whatever size you want. You can make these whatever size you want. I've doubled up a couple of layers. I've chosen some, an image. So I chose that you are exactly where you need to be image for one of my cushions. So I'll cut that outside because that will help determine how much foam I want or how big a piece of foam I want for my cushion. So there we are. So, and they need to be a little bit bigger than that. So one, you don't need them to be massively bigger. There we are. One. We are going to cover this, so you need a few layers. It depends how much you need. Actually, is going to be determined by how thick your foam, your foam is. This is only 0.8 mils thick, but some of the thicker foams are, a mil thick, so that makes life easier. So no sew cushions because life is too short.
Yeah, for sure.
So I need a piece of material that is just going to wrap around. So there's my cushions. Foam, I'm going to add that can be chopped off. You just need to leave yourself enough to work with. It's going to be at the back, and my OCD doesn't go quite that far into worrying about, or you can actually cover it. It's entirely up to you, but there we are with the
Discussions really
sentiment.
are amazing. Everyone in the comments is loving them. They are writing genius, brilliant, cute, wonderful.
Well, it just makes for fun, doesn't it? And you can add and you can whatever. So at this point, you can fold in your edges, or you can just glue them and feather the edges. It's entirely up to you. So if I pop that there and there, so, and again, this will make life easier for you. That can sit there while that's gluing. That can sit there whilst that is gluing. There we are. Pop that into there and rinse and repeat. So we need another cushion. So I've taken some images from the paper pack. You can make these as long, thin bolster cushions, but I didn't really want one that was quite so long and thin, but it's up to you. I have done another project which will be shared at some point, which does have long, thin bolster cushions on it. So watch this space. That will be shared at some point in the not so distant future. So literally just there we are. There we are. So yeah, I think if you could really customize this, couldn't you? If you'd got leftover fabric from either fabric from your clothes that you're about to throw out, or from from scraps from dressmaking or quilts. The quilters have wonderful fabrics, or the klimt fabrics would work really well. equally. So there we are. We'll put that there. None of these scraps of fabric will actually ultimately get wasted, ladies. I will
Oh,
use
that's
them
nice.
all. So there we are.
Agnieszka is suggesting also we can use rice paper to create cushions.
You absolutely can. And that other project that I was talking about, that's exactly what I did. I've used rice paper to cover the cushions as well. So yeah, it's about thinking about what you've got. I've chosen paper because that's what I had to hand, and I was wanting to use up scraps because that to me is, you know, something that I think is important. So there we are. There is our suitcase, not quite so evenly thing. So that is now going to sit in front of my fireplace. So those can sit and dry. Now fireplaces need, you know, things need some books or something to put on them. So I've got lots of bits and pieces of cardboard here. So I've just got a piece of black card. It's about 1.7 by 1.7. That's half a centimetre. Cut it the size you want, vary it up, and some slightly smaller pieces of paper that will stack up to go inside it. Yeah. And I found it was easier to, you could sew all of these pages together if you wanted to, but life sometimes is a bit too short for that. There we are. And one of the other, there's a lady who did a beautiful fireplace for a Christmas fireplace who showed exactly how to construct pages. When you stack papers, you always end up with an uneven side. So that can go into there. That can go into there. We'll glue that front and back because it makes life easier.
Louisa is saying some patchwork material to make a blanket to lay over the case.
Yeah, absolutely. You could indeed. And a patchwork blanket would be great for doing that, wouldn't it? So I've got a strip of paper here, and quick way of making lots of pages is to fold it in half, fold it in half again, drop in the middle, fold it in half again, and then you have a collection of pages that are all together. And then, so because I wanted more than one book. So my black card, this is just an alternative way of making a book if you like me, just want to be quick, speedy, and just haven't got so much time, or you've got to make 100 of them or 50 of them, and you can say, but you're never going to do that. And I can assure you, I have made 50 little books recently. So I've worked out the shortcut. So I've now got my stack of pages, and all I need to do is fold my black card around and drop. So I now have 2 books that open. There we are. So that can go there. That can go there. And books have to have covers because that's just the law, isn't it? So we can add a piece of paper for the cover. And this is when when you customize to suit what you've got in front of you. So that can go there. That can go there. That can go on the back of there. And these are great ways of using up all of your little scraps that you've got. Like, you know, we all have tiny scrap scraps of paper. And I mean, I know that lots of people don't throw anything away, but actually for me, if I kept every single scrap of paper, I don't think I would ever be able to move in the room that I'm in. So I, horror of horrors, do sometimes throw scraps of paper away, but this is a really good way of using up scraps of paper and not having to worry about it. So there we are. So that can go in there, that can go there, that can go there. And I've just added some wax because that is the easiest way of adding your page edges to it. There we are. So we are nearly there. You can make, if you want to, you can make little vases with wooden beads, so you can paint them, which is what I did in my original. So let's move this. So my back panel is now standing up without any support. While it was drying, I had some bottles of paint behind it. So let me just pop it here. Let me pop it like let's pop it so that you can see what's going on. Maybe not so easy to prop. So we have our books, which are going to go on our fireplace. Let me pop that up there, you can see. Good. So I've got two different size books. I'm actually going to pop that one on the floor because it looks a little bit big for up there, but that will work. So Mr. Supervisor can go by the fire because they like
nice.
they like going by the fire. We can put a book on the floor over there. We can come back to our not quite dry
Prima ti ho mandato
cushion.
Sto ragazzo sta continuando.
Okay. We are nearly finished, Lucrezia. It's not a problem. So we're going to pop one cushion
sono così fiera di te che
into
capisci.
our
Bene.
suitcase. We'll pop the second cushion into our suitcase. So we've now got two cushions popping out of our suitcase. There we are. It can be however you want. One can go flat, one can go on the top like that. Okay, so let's remove that. And then in the die cuts, the chipboards, there's a little image of a cat in a frame. So I am going to add, he says being messy. That's going to go over the fireplace. Up there. And after that, what you do is really up to you. So you can make a little footstool with a bobbin if you want to.
We have a lot of nice comments. Mary Monroe wrote lovely cozy room, and then we have Jennifer Lee Duke who wrote this is awesome. So everyone is enjoying this time together.
Brilliant. Well, I'm glad it is a project that just takes a little bit of thinking about, but you can make yourself stools, you can make yourself cushions, you can make a rug. So really it's not so difficult to do. You could pop more foam on the top of that if you wanted to give yourself a foam top to the cushion. It's up to you. I'm just going to add a little piece of cardboard to the top of the paper to that for the moment, but again, pop that onto there. I love using little bobbins because they just make constructing things like this easy. Yeah. So now we have a little stool, and you could pop some lace around there if you want to. She says, having got glue over everything, but hey ho. And the biggest pair of scissors in the world doesn't help matters. So we've got a little stool to pop in front of it. There we are.
Amazing.
And sometimes I will use little wooden beads like this. You can paint them if you want, as you want to. I'm just going to literally take a wooden bead, stick some glue in it, pop myself a flower on, and then I've got a little vase for my mantelpiece. So, ladies, that is a whistle stop tour of how I made my exploding box. So I hope that's been
Wow.
helpful, useful, that you've enjoyed the live. I would, sit and faff a little bit. I'll put those cushions in, but essentially that's the project made with complete with its lid. I'm just going to let these pieces settle down and dry before I pop it all together again.
Okay.
And obviously, I will photograph it and pop it up on social media when it's done.
Mhm. Yeah, this project is really beautiful, amazing. Well, also, people in the comment, Belinda wrote so many wonderful hints, tips, tricks. Thanks, Jill. Then we have Elena, Christina, beautiful project, Cheryl. This is absolutely awesome. And Shell, very thank you for sharing your design. So thank you so much, guys, in the comment for all these hearts and sweet comments, kind comments, everything. Before saying goodbye to you and talking about the afternoon lives, we will announce the pizza winner. So the winner of this week is Donata Niegela. And
Congratulations, Donata.
congratulations. If you are in the comment, please write us an email at marketing@stamperiakft.com, or if someone in the comments knows her, please just let her know that she's the winner. And here we are. This afternoon at 3 p.m. plus 2 GMT, there will be another beautiful live with Silvia Gabito and Fabiola Otero. And of course, if you want to have a chance to become the next pizza winner, share these afternoon lives and all the lives that we are having during the week. And if Jill inspired you in creating something, please share your creations on our Facebook group, Stampers Worldwide. So, Jill, thank you so much once again. The project is amazing.
Thank you. No, I've enjoyed making it for everyone. There we are. I just now
That's
need to leave this to dry. There we are.
perfect. You can post the final result, of course. You can send me photos and you can post them directly on our social media. Perfect. Thank you so much, Jill.
You're
We will see
welcome.
again because we are planning other lives together. But for
Yes,
now,
indeed.
see you
Bye
next
bye.
time. Bye
Take
bye.
care, ladies. Bye bye.